What's going on, everyone? So Anthony Davis is clearly the best defensive player in the league. I mean, he is ridiculous. And it's not so much like his ability to block shots and generate steals. It's the full package and combination. The amount of ground in which he covers, the overall defensive impact, the win shares, all of those things that culminate into him being the defensive player that he is. His ability to switch out and guard and defend out on the perimeter, but also recover and protect the paint. Right? Like there's times where Anthony Davis looks like he's 5 places at once. And it's so incredible to watch the performance and display that he puts out on a nightly basis on the defensive side of the game. There's very few, if any, guys that can impact the game on the defensive side that Anthony Davis can. Guys that come to mind, Giannis, right? But I'd still take Anthony Davis on the defensive side of things. But Victor Wembanyama, he's definitely, I mean, you can make an argument he's the best defensive player in the league already. Like Victor Wembanyama is special. Like I can definitely acknowledge that. But to me, it is absolutely, and I mean this wholeheartedly, that Anthony Davis has never in his career won a Defensive Player of the Year award. Never has won a Defensive Player of the Year award. We're going to dive into that more in a moment. But it also looks like this season, he's not going to win one again. You have 6 guys ahead of Anthony Davis on the defensive side of things. Rudy Gobert, Victor Wembanyama, Giannis, Jared Allen, SGA, Bam Adebayo. Really? You're telling me Anthony Davis, you could hate Anthony Davis as a player, and there are not 6 guys better than Anthony Davis on the defensive side of things. You could think Anthony Davis is the worst player in the world. You don't think that he's the worst defensive player in the world. It's okay. Rudy Gobert is having an incredible defensive season. Don't get me wrong from the statistical standpoint. He's not a better overall defensive player than Anthony Davis. However, Rudy Gobert, he's the anchor of the defense for the best defensive team in the league, the Minnesota Timberwolves. And on top of that, Minnesota's the 1 seed in the West. If you want to put Rudy Gobert, you want him to win Defensive Player of the Year, fine. So be it. I can live with Rudy. Victor Wembanyama, okay. I think Anthony Davis is a better defensive player currently, but there is an argument for Victor Wembanyama and what he's doing this year defensively. Absolutely spectacular. Worst case scenario, Victor Wembanyama will be the best defensive player in the league for his career. Like he could do nothing else. Just over time, he will, as he learns, because right now he's just playing defense totally on instinct. He hasn't developed his man body yet. He hasn't developed the instincts and understanding of the game fully. He hasn't understood positioning and have the discipline needed, right? Once he learns how to actually defend at an NBA level, that guy is going to be, I mean, he might go down as the greatest defensive player in history. That's how good Victor Wembanyama is right now. So I don't think he's a better overall player yet because Anthony Davis, he will be. But I do think Anthony Davis today, I would take a game on the line as the understanding Anthony Davis over Victor Wembanyama. But you want to make an argument for Victor Wembanyama because he's like leading the league in like stocks. So where he's like second, something like that. Okay, fine. Giannis, another guy, as I mentioned, okay, I can understand that. He's not having a better defensive season than Anthony Davis this year, but he is a guy that is as close to Anthony Davis as it gets. Anthony Davis, I still think, is a better defensive player. But Anthony Davis is still having an incredible defensive year. Anthony Davis is having the worst defensive rating of his career, and it's still better than like 99% of the league. For the guys playing 30 plus minutes, he's like second in the league. So even then, it's like the amount of minutes, a lot of it is just the Lakers defense. One, they're missing like all of their defensive guys. And 2, they just haven't been very good defensively this year. Right? So like Anthony Davis is like 9 times out of 10, their only defensive guy. And he's still, as his worst defensive season, is a 109.9 defensive rating, averaging almost 36 minutes a game, 35.7. So as his worst season ever as a defensive player, he is still a 109.9. Do you know how insane that is? League average this year is 116.5. He's 6.5 points better than everybody else outside of like a couple guys, right? Like it's spectacular what he's doing on the defensive side. And yet he's never won a defensive player of the year. He's had seasons where he's almost had an under 100 defensive rating. Like 2014-15, he had a 100.2. Do you know how insane that defensive rating is by like current NBA standards? Like there was a time where league average was like 95, right? Defensive rating. So, I'm talking about in comparison to like modern times. That is ridiculous, right? Like Rudy Gobert is a ginormous favorite. And I mean ginormous favorite. You saw minus 800 to win Defensive Player of the Year this year. And he doesn't have anywhere close to a 100 defensive rating. This season, as the leader of Defensive Player of the Year, he is currently a 104 defensive rating. Which, I mean, again, is very good. He's 104.1. Right? Now, look, Rudy Gobert, career-wise, he's had multiple seasons in which he could have won it. Rudy Gobert has had several seasons in which he had a 100.5. He had seasons where he was under 100, 99, 98, 97, which again, Anthony Davis doing it and Rudy Gobert doing it, that's spectacular. But here's the difference. Anthony Davis is also defending out on the perimeter, switching on the guards, switching on the forwards, protecting the paint, but also protecting basically the entire court. Rudy Gobert is just basically at the rim. That's a huge difference, right? You make Rudy Gobert have to defend perimeter guys, and watch how quickly his defensive rating just disappears. And how he goes from like a 104 to a 120 or something like that, right? Because again, he's not capable of doing that. He's the guy that, again, he's having a great defensive season, but he also has 3 other guys in the top 10 on defense this season. To me, the Rudy Gobert thing kind of feels like when Marcus Smart situation, right? When Marcus Smart won Defensive Player of the Year, he wasn't the best defensive player in the league at that year, but Boston was the best defensive team, and he was the engine and had the best defensive rating, but he wasn't even like the best defensive player on that team that season. But yet, it was just, they were the best defensive team. He was kind of the guy that led the charge. So he was the centerpiece of that defense. So he got the award. And even even when he won, media, Celtics, everybody was like, this is like a community award more than it is like the individual, right? And that's kind of what it feels like with Rudy Gobert. Because, again, Anthony Davis is just, the way he floats, the impact he has on the defensive side is unbelievable. Like, even Giannis at least has, in previous years, and even to an extent this year, other defensive pieces, right? Like, when he was having the insane defensive seasons that he was having, he had Drew Holiday, he had Chris Middleton, he had Brook Lopez, right? Like, Anthony Davis, like last year is a great example. Lakers were literally middle of the pack defensively. Anthony Davis got one defensive guy in Jared Vanderbilt, and the Lakers immediately became the number 1 defense in the league. Because Anthony Davis just makes up for so much. Like, when the Lakers don't have AD, the Lakers are 3rd worst defensively. He makes that much of an impact. Just by himself, basically puts you, just him as your sole defensive guy, makes you a top 15 defense. Just by himself individually. Rudy Gobert by himself doesn't make you a top 15 defense. It's just the fact that Anthony Davis has never won a Defensive Player of the Year award. Right? And it's unfortunate because, like, look, if the Lakers were better this year, right? Like, not even number one. Like, let's say the Lakers were like a top 4, top 5 team. The way that Anthony Davis is playing right now, and as healthy as he's been, knock on wood, Anthony Davis would be at least in the conversation for MVP and probably could win Defensive Player of the Year. It might be like second in the league in Defensive Player of the Year, right? It's just because the Lakers have been bad this year that they're looking at it as like, and I know some people are going to be like, well, Victor Wembanyama is second right now, and they're, the third worst team in the league. Big difference. Nobody really is going to give it to Victor Wembanyama. 2, he's also a rookie. 3, the Victor Wembanyama hype is like insane right now, which is very deserving. I mean, the guy has been spectacular. I don't want to take anything away from what Victor's doing this year. He has been just unbelievably good. But come on, a lot of it is just the hype. SGA is part of it just because, again, the Thunder are like second. I think they're second in the league defensively, second or third. I know they kind of like fluctuate back and forth, but they're top 3 defense, and SGA is their best player, and he is very good. Chet Holmgren's right after Anthony Davis. So again, like if you go through the list, it's all pretty much like the top teams. And then Anthony Davis and Victor Wembanyama. Victor, I think a lot of it is hype. Anthony Davis, I just think it's criminal. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Does it bother you that Anthony Davis never won Defensive Player of the Year? Do you think it's justifiable? Do you think it's understandable? Again, whatever your thoughts are, I would love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. Not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.